Welcome back to the ASN Dad Chat. We're a podcast and community dedicated to making sure no ASN dad in Scotland has to walk this path alone.
Our goal is simple: real talk, real honesty, and sharing our own experiences to help you navigate the system. Whether you're in our meetup group already or just finding us now, you've got a seat at the table.
And just a reminder, we aren't experts, we're just dads, and this is just experiences and opinions, not medical advice and not legal advice. Then let's go on with the chat today.
Hello and welcome back to ASN Dad Chat. I'm Andy and I'm joined again by Sam.
Hello, nice to see you.
And for the first time we have Glyn.
Hello.
Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome.
So we can pass the baton to Glyn. You've heard me and Sam enough for the past 2 weeks. So Glyn,
for sure.
You want to give a bit of an introduction about yourself, Glyn?
Yeah, cool. So I am the resident English person of the group. Sorry to say that. I've lived here long enough now, so I think I get a pass. I have 2 children, one 7 going on 8 this year. He is Elijah with autism and chasing an ADHD diagnosis as well, and our youngest Noah, who is a year old just now.
Fantastic. I was going to say, I know we've talked before about stories about Elijah. You know, I certainly haven't had the opportunity yet to certainly meet him, but I'm very excited, you know, for that day, and hopefully
You've met Elijah?
Point. Have I?
Yeah, when we went to
that's not
good.
Forgotten him.
Where was it? It was iPlay.
Oh yeah. To be fair, I don't think my eyes left my oldest sprinting around. You know,
Elijah is a wild tornado of ginger energy. Just think of a ginger cat, and that is essentially Elijah. Now we a lot of Elijah's diagnosis is similar to how Andy's spoken about Ashton. He's we call it pre-verbal, obviously, because he has got speech, and a lot of it is. It's repetitive. Obviously, he takes it from what he's learnt from programs and what he's learnt from like videos and stuff like that. But he's getting better at starting a conversation with us. Mm-hmm. Not so much as being able to be like, "How you doing today?" But he will, if he wants something, he'll now start to come to us and we'll be able to have a conversation with him. So I can safely say that's come from things like the nursery that we finished in, and the school that he's going to. Obviously, it's definitely helped that along the way.
Excellent.
He got his diagnosis during COVID, so he was about 2. It was early signs for him. He was premature anyway.
Right.
I think he was 28 weeks.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
I can't remember exactly. So he spent 2 weeks in the NICU. But we knew he was going to be a force to be reckoned with, because after a week he pulled out his nose bits. He knew he was
introducing himself to the world.
It's literally. The best memory we had of that place was the nurses kept coming around going, "Has he got his ginger hair through yet?" like he was bald as the day goes when he was born, but they were like, because I'm ginger, my wife's ginger, so. We were obviously expecting it. I think if we didn't, then it'd be a case of what's going on there.
Do you know? I think I remember when my youngest was born. He was. I came into my eldest and my stepdaughter's lives later on. So my youngest was my first, and I remember when he was born. He was a C-section, and I remember, you know, it was very much. We got sat down outside of the room, and they took my partner in, and the doctor came out and sat. He very much just stood next to me and went, "So your dad?" And I was like, trembling in my boots, absolutely.
But you are dad. You are dad.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And it was one of those that he turned around and he went, "So have you got a name?" And I was like, "Yes." And I said the name of our youngest, and he was like, "So he's going to be here in 2 minutes, and then the rest of the time we're going to be putting your partner back together."
Oh, lovely.
And I think I just I was sitting there going, "Okay, 2 minutes, and then I have a child."
Go time.
Jade with Elijah was very similar. Like, it was such a weird week for us, because Jade had just passed her driving test the day before.
Wow.
And then I had a joke with my boss at the time. He was like, he was going on holiday. I said, "I guarantee you, like, my son's going to come like when you're on holiday." He goes, "It's too early, it's not going to happen." And then like I remember it it was on a Friday afternoon. Like I got a message saying it's go time. I'm like, okay, cool. And we were in the hospital for about 45 minutes. But
Wow.
like 45 minutes. Obviously, he was in like for longer than that. But it was a long afternoon afterwards. Obviously, because they were like, okay, we need to take him away. We need to do this, that, and the other.
Yeah, because I remember with Cheryl, and this is my memory's terrible. She was induced, but it took quite a while for anything to happen. I just remember, kind of at the end of the night, the kind of usual dad thing, getting to go home. I'll go for a full night's sleep sort of thing. Left her in the hospital, and then it was kind of first thing in the morning, phone call and panic. You need to come in now. You need to come in now. So it was straight back in, and then it was a completely different story from what I had left. And then, so not too long after, Ashton was here, and you're at that point you're just obviously kind of thrust into it. You're now in dad mode and trying to figure out what's going on. But
changing butts and
yeah, it's just, I feel it's just a whirlwind. I can't really remember a massive.
Oh yeah, I mean, if there was a qualification for it, I think all three of us would.
Not 5.
Yeah.
Noah was a couple more days similar to yourself. Obviously, like Jade had to be induced for it. Like it was a Saturday night, and it was like 2 a.m. when he finally came. I went home, and I remember vividly, like I got like an hour's sleep, and then Elijah was up at like 4 a.m, and we'd gone to Bouncy Bees, and I was like half asleep.
At least at Bouncy Bees you can switch off, you can lock the door, and that's it.
I lay on the sofa while he just went on the trampoline. Like that was me.
Yeah, that's the main benefit of that. Comfy couch, and you can just chill.
Honestly, I don't know what it is, but especially when you're a dad, every like item of like lounge you can just pass out on. You know, like it can be like one of the most uncomfortable chairs in the world. You can rest yourself, and then
we have a concrete floor just now in the living room still, because the floor's not put down. So it's just it's still not done. So it's supposed to get done on the Friday. And then the screed hadn't dried enough yet, so it'll be another week. So I'm hoping that it should be done by the next time we're recording.
By episode 10.
Episode 10, the flooring complete edition. But yeah, it would just be good to get everything sorted, because he's not been able to get into any of his toys or anything, so everything's just up in the air. And as you know, the whole routine and giving them their own kind of independence is massive, so it's all up in the air just now. But he's coped well with it, to be fair.
That's good.
It's probably more just us having no couch or anything at all. We have a blow up bed in the living room now that we're kind of half using as a couch where we can, but yeah, it's a bit mad, and I'm looking forward to actually having a floor in the living room back again.
Oh god, yeah. I mean, in our household at the moment, one of us has to sleep on the couch in the living room to keep an eye on our oldest. We've certainly talked before on this podcast about his antics.
Yes.
Honestly, he's unbelievable at what he can do. It's a bit of a nightmare, because you know he'll jump his gate, he'll go into the kitchen, he will raid everything.
The massively impressive nightmare.
Oh, 100%. You know, and it's one of those that you know, one of us has to kind of stay up near enough all night, and then we kind of loop it all around. But it can be very difficult, especially when you're thriving on so little sleep.
Yeah,
you know.
And does he sleep, like once he's asleep, is he quite good with that? Or I know you've said obviously melatonin, you need to kind of really limit it, because he kind of builds up. We occasionally
give him melatonin. He's got fast release and slow release. He used to be on fast release, but what was happening was he was going to sleep, and then he was waking up 3 hours later, ready for the day, and it was 2 o'clock in the morning. So, but now he's got that slow release, and that does kind of tide him over until the morning, which does help. But there's some nights where he wakes up and it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and he's just going to be up all day, and you just kind of have to deal with it.
I know the feeling.
You know, it is what it is. You know, you take the good with the bad when it comes to our kids.
Yeah, those are good nights, and you're trying to, even though I know Ashton still doesn't understand, I'm still during the night trying to convince him, like, no, it's time to go to sleep, and he's just up there chatting away, repeating his usual YouTube stuff, and I'm trying to like, no, please sleep. And then eventually, after a couple of hours, it's like, right, downstairs, that's it, fine, let's
it's
start
hard
the day.
to know as well, because the day's getting lighter earlier, so they think it's time to be awake.
Yeah,
like, I know when we first started with Elijah, he had the pills. for melatonin, and they didn't work very well. So we petitioned and we fought to get the liquid.
Yep.
And they were like, okay, you need to do half first, and then if he wakes up, you can give him the rest.
Yeah.
But that second half wasn't touching because he was. I don't know if it was because it was already in his system, so it was kind of like the tolerance was there, so I'm not going to touch it. Or obviously the main point of melatonin is that they need to already be tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they're not already tired, this isn't going to have the effect that they expect it to, or they want it to, or we want it to. So
it's quite hard as well to actually even know when your child is tired sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I know our oldest, there's times where you think, oh, you seem absolutely shattered, and then next thing you know, he's sprinting up and down the hall, and I'm like, maybe not.
Well, that's the worst thing. See, when you're so tired and you think they're about to go to sleep, and then it's just last minute they pop up, and it's just hello, all
It's
these
that
sort of things
second
again.
wind, and you're like,
and
well, honestly, if I could, as I say all the time, if I could store his energy and sell it,
you'd make
I would
millions.
be a
You'd make
billionaire.
millions.
Honestly, I don't think. Yeah, it's incredible. He puts the Duracell bunny to shame. He really does.
It was like the other night. Ashton was being super cuddly, bringing about 15 blankets up to his bed and cuddled into me, and I was like, right, I need to go get the melatonin sort of thing, and he's like, no, like, because he just wanted me to stay in bed with him sort of thing, and he's been on melatonin for a while now, and I was like, oh, he's going down, all right, and I was like, oh, maybe you're okay, I'll just leave it tonight, and I'll see you go down sort of thing, and then I was like, oh, right, okay, after about 40 minutes, he's asleep, and then I'm going to bed, and it's about midnight, and then Ashton just pops up, blah, 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 and I'm like, no, sort of thing, and I'm like, never again, it has to go back in that. But yeah, it's one of these things, it's that balance, but sleep's just massive. See, just, I think we touched on it before, see, when you just cannot have any sleep, the fact that you need to be so switched on, it's just so difficult sort of thing. And I think that's where, again, we said previously about having that kind of balance between the parents, that if one of you are totally kind of shot, that the other one has a bit of energy, and the worst thing is when you're both knackered, that it's just a nightmare. And I think obviously probably you two more than me, that you've got multiple children, so it must be that extra one.
I think our oldest, certainly, he has the more complex ASN, additional support needs in our household. Our daughter, she can be okay so long as you kind of do the right routine at night. She's got a very certain routine,
Okay.
that you follow to a T. You know, she's very literal, so she can really struggle if you don't follow it to a T. You know, and then our youngest, in all honesty, you know, he's the third child. He thinks he's the first. He runs about riot in the living room with usually me. I normally stay up and do the night shift, but mainly because I know we've talked about it, Andy, that I don't sleep until the kids are asleep. It's just something that I can't seem to do unless I'm completely exhausted and pass out, and then I wake up and then my oldest has ransacked the kitchen. Or
yeah, it can always be that way, kind of psychologically in your head. You're kind of like, because I know that for me, and this is then switching back to even when Ashton was a baby, like, I wouldn't want to go to sleep unless he was fast asleep sort of thing. It's always in my head, I'm like, I don't want to go into a deep sleep to get woke up kind of 20 minutes later. And I remember that was one of the things that when Ashton was a baby, that me and Cheryl ended up splitting it to be like, instead of both of us going to sleep, I was like, I'll take the first half of the night, you take the second. I'd rather have like a smaller like a 4 hours straight as opposed to like 7 hours of completely broken sleep. But to be fair, I got through some amount of box sets during that point sort of thing, because he would just be lying there up every once in a while for milk, and then I'd be kind of cracking through every box set I could find. But it definitely did get harder than the baby stage anyway.
Oh yeah, I think everybody, so many people think the baby stage is the hardest, and
no.
Honestly, I sit there and I'm like, no.
It's pretty much now that for a lot of us, you're still at the baby stage with a much larger child now.
Yeah. It's really difficult.
I'm quite thankful that we've got a very detailed routine with Elijah when it comes to bed, and I think that's just been because we've put so much practice into it now. Obviously, similar to what you said, obviously with one of your kids, this is you back from school, have your snack, have dinner, bed, bath and bed. Obviously, it's done like very like military by the hour.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we go past obviously like the bedtime, but you can tell that he starts to get cranky from it.
Yeah.
So like 7 o'clock, 7:30, we're in bed. And he's got his melatonin. we always ask him before he goes to bed, like, who's taking you to bed tonight, mummy or daddy? We give him the decision, obviously, and he'll pick one of us.
That's good though that
Yeah.
your was it Elijah has
Yeah.
that autonomy to pick. You
Yeah.
know, I know our daughter, she picks. So we do. It's called the Magic. We do the Magic, and it's something that my partner absolutely adores. Grey's Anatomy, and it was on Grey's Anatomy, and it was 3 times. And it's like, what was it? Bad dreams go away. Good dreams come to stay.
Mm-hmm.
So we do that 3 times, and it has to be 3. If you don't, like, there was one time that I think I done it like twice, and she was like, "No," she was like, "No, get with the program," you know. And but yeah, and you know, we do that, and we've had to take her tablet off of her earlier because her transitions were actually getting a lot slower, and she was getting really distracted, and you could tell it was just she was shattered.
Yeah.
And when she becomes overtired, she really struggles to do the most basic things. So, like you were saying, you have to have that kind of military style routine.
Yeah,
you know.
and I think it's definitely helped. Obviously, there's a couple of times where we've gone to events, or like we've gone to like a soft play quite late. And just normally getting back after his normal bedtime, and obviously that can then be a struggle because he knows he should already be in bed, should already be doing this, but we're trying to play catch up, like trying to do dinner, trying to be bath, and then but as soon as he gets himself into bed, we put on like what we call the sleepy fish. It's just it's a fish video on YouTube where it's just it slowly dims. It's just got like light music behind it. We used to have one that was like Mushy Monsters. It was called Sleepy Paws. And it just told you a story about how this bear goes to sleep, and he's got like a little stuff of it, but he doesn't really watch that one as much anymore.
Okay.
But we just put the fish on until he falls asleep, or until I start to fall asleep with him.
Do you know, I think what was it, our for our youngest, we used on Disney Plus, there was so it was Dory Cam, and it's like 3 hours long. But it's like just a visual like video of fish swimming through, and like the kind of underwater ocean noises, and that used to really work. Sometimes it is very sensory orientated. You know, our daughter, she likes silence when she sleeps. Our oldest, he can be sprinting around, and then his brain just goes click and passes
Just
out.
drops.
Honestly, I've seen it before where he was hop, skipping and jumping in his room, and then he just fell to the floor, and I ran in after him and going, "Oh God, what just happened?" And he was purring gently.
Found the off switch.
Honestly, it was like a sniper bullet had came through the window and taken this kid out. It's fascinating. I find it absolutely fascinating, you know. And we were talking about this before, Andy, like stepping into your child's, you know, head just for a day. Oh, I would love to see what it's like.
Yeah, it would definitely be interesting, at least. I mean, you were talking about the whole kind of certain things that you play and stuff. I remember when Ashton was younger, we used to play, I don't know what it was like super simple songs. I think it was called like Snowflakes or something. It's like a wee owl and things.
We were getting past super symbols now, back because we got the little one. We're back to it, so it's constantly on my TV again now.
Like I remember, like I think Ashton started to fall asleep. This was when he was a baby, and he would like start to fall asleep to that. And there'd be times when I would just have to hold on my shoulder and just have that and repeat for about 40 minutes. I'd be sitting there, the same thing over and over and over. And I was going to ask, have you guys ever had it where you're trying all these different techniques to get him to go to sleep, and it's more just working on yourself than them? You can feel yourself just kind of nodding off, and you can just feel them. They're still full of energy. It doesn't
take much. It really doesn't. You know, I remember especially when our youngest, when he was a toddler, something for whatever reason at the time he would fall asleep on the divot between my belly and my kind of upper chest area, so it would be like a little crevice for him to just curl up in, and he wanted to keep doing that even now. You know, he's 3 and he wants to, you know, fall asleep on my chest, and he's massive now, and I'm like, no. You know, he's always roasting as well. He kicks the covers off, and that's how as soon as I seen him do that when he was a baby, I was like, oh, you're definitely my child. I used to do that all the time with freezing weather outside and kick off all the covers in the pram. I'm like, oh. But like, there was so many different things that we tried when our youngest, when he was younger, like super simple songs. Miss Rachel was a big one. He's right into Mickey Mouse right now.
Okay,
that's his niche, and he quotes it and he sings it. Was it the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse?
Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he sings that, and he does all the voices. He started kind of mimicking the voices, and it's funny because he does like a really raspy one for Donald, and it just cracks me up every time I hear it, because you know, he sits there and he goes, Donald, Reddit, and I'm like, oh god. But, oh yeah,
big one in our house for Elijah has and always will be Dougie. Hey
oh
Dougie.
yeah.
And number blocks, obviously, because he's a big like alphabets and numbers person. Obviously but Dougie's always been the staple of our household. Like, and I think Dougie's is great.
Yeah,
like it's so easy to just kind of have on in the background sometimes. Like, we got introduced to it before Elijah was born, obviously. Like, so like I remember obviously my niece, she was just born, obviously she was watching it. I'm like, this is the Stick song. I'm like, this is a banger.
Yeah. You get to that point where you prefer the episodes more than them. We were that with Paw Patrol sort of thing. You'd be like, have you seen the new episodes that have come on? Because that's the thing, obviously, with Ashton, your kids are probably the same, that a lot of the time they just watch the same episodes over and over. Then Party is kind of like, I want to know what happens next sort of thing. Like,
do you know, there's certain episodes that our oldest can't watch of Paw Patrol because it makes him emotional.
Right.
Which I found out completely by chance. It's not something that when you first start looking after an autistic child, your partner knows to tell you. But I remember I was sitting watching him. She was going out to get shopping, and next thing you know, he's just like inconsolable, crying. And I was like, I phoned her and I was like, I don't know what's happened. He's literally been sitting here watching his tablet. What's going on? She was like, what's he watching? And I was like, oh, it's Paw Patrol. And she was like, what episode? And I went, what does that matter? And she was like, just entertain me, what's the episode? And I think it was one where I'm trying to remember, I think it was Rocky gets kidnapped or something like that.
Okay.
And when he flies away, it sets him off. And I was like, it's things that you just don't ever think about.
that's the level of detail that you need to know, like the kind of ins and outs of everything.
So at any time I see that episode is on on the main TV and it's next, I'm like, let's just skip that one.
Yeah, I remember I'm sure it was Peppa Pig. I think it was my niece, I'm sure it was Mila, and whenever it was there was some episodes in Peppa Pig where they'd go and see their cousins and they would speak French, and she would get really, really upset by that. It just shows you again, like, kind of you wonder what it is that kind of sets them off in these sort of things.
You said about Super Simples like earlier, obviously, like Elijah when he was very young. There was Three Blind Mice.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was actually a little baby one. Obviously, it was Three Blind Mice at one. Obviously, when they go up in a rocket to the moon and stuff like that. Every time it came on, he'd cry.
Yeah,
it just floods of tears. Like, so much so that if he came on, you had to dive for the controller or the remote just because it couldn't happen.
You wonder what it is, like whether it's connected to a memory or something, or anything like that.
It's like an emotional trigger.
Yeah,
it's something that, you know, you sit there and when it happens, you're like, what just happened? And then when you try and piece it together, like all dads do, we sit and try and logically piece things together in life, and you sit there and go, there's no logic to this.
No.
And for a logic-based person like me, that drives me up the bend because
we say
I like an answer.
We say that there is to an extent there is a logic to much of it, but there's also there is parts of it that would be as well. Like Elijah's watching a video the other day that had cakes in it, and he came coming down asking for cube cakes.
Okay.
And I'm like, I don't know what a cube cake is, mate. Like, where have you found this? He was after a French fancy.
Oh,
which makes sense. A good way to describe it.
Yeah, and it just randomly came to it. There was just other things that we've come across, like brilliant one, obviously, that never came to mind before, obviously, but thinking about it now, we'd gone to probably one of the first events where I'd met you, Cheryl, and obviously you, Ashton. Obviously, meeting Ashton, obviously, Ashton's very vocal.
Yeah.
But we noticed, like, when Elijah was doing something similar, obviously, like, we hadn't noticed that Elijah would vocal stim, like, similar. I was like, oh, shit, like, that's actually what he's doing there.
Yeah. Yeah, Ashton is very, very loud. He likes to scream when he's happy, and he's a very noisy boy. And the benefit of that is he doesn't really tend to go missing. You'd find him pretty quickly. It's when he goes quiet you need to kind of worry.
There's so many times in soft plays where we sit there and go, do you know, I haven't seen our oldest in a hot minute. Where's he gone? And then just all you hear in the background, oh, and I'm like, oh no, he's fine. And at half the time he'll find so in iPlay, I know you were talking about iPlay, there's like a rope swing just under the main slide.
Yep.
He will spend 2 hours on that. So we have an annual pass,
right,
for iPlay, and we have an annual pass for, it's called Monty's Farm.
Yep. Yes, that's great.
Yeah.
And honestly, between the swing, the trampoline that's up at the very top, like corner in iPlay, and then the big like outdoor balloon,
big pillow,
you
cannot get our oldest off of it. He'll just stay on there for hours.
Ashton loves that pillow, but the worst thing is when you get to Monty's, if it starts raining.
Oh yeah,
and they shut off. And it's try to get it. But the thing at Monty's that Ashton loved for ages was, see, there's like a wee boat at the back. It's just like an old boat. So see if you kind of go out and there's like the kind of field bit.
Okay.
There's just like an old boat. He just loves going and standing in there, sort of thing. Even if it's pouring rain, covered in mud, he just wants to go out there, sort of thing. But indoors in there is brilliant as well. It's so good.
They've started doing ASN sessions.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen.
We've been to a couple.
Yeah.
We've been to a few. It's been nice because that indoor bit, there is only really one way out, which is always a benefit when you've got our oldest that likes to make escaping look easy.
Yeah, and it's good that most of us kind of know each other at these sessions now, and know each other's kids, so you kind of know, like, they're not going to kind of go too far or anything like that, and someone's going to point out, oh, there's one of the kids are getting away, sort of thing. So
I think that helps with the chat as well. Obviously, that's something that's easily helped us all kind of like make more conversation with each other. I mean, I know for myself, going to events or like things for ASN meetings before, I'd speak to anybody because I'd be too focused on like Elijah.
Yep.
But obviously being able to have this conversation with like the chat and obviously getting to know people, I feel more confident in myself, being like going up at, hey Andy, how you doing, or like, how you doing, Sam? Obviously having a conversation as well as the kids. Obviously it gives me a bit more of a social outlet.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I remember one of the first times, I'm sure, that I'd met you, Glyn. I'm sure it was Kiltoonies.
Yes,
it was good in there, that sort of thing, because it's quite small, it's all locked off, and it's that way of like you can kind of have a conversation for a bit. I think, and just what you said as well previously, it's that way as soon as you go into these places you're like, where's all the exits, how far can they go, and that kind of almost kind of gives you that way of like, okay, can I get a minute to chat, can I do that, or do I need to be on kind of constant alert, because at any moment Ashton at the moment he's very aware of that he can now reach things off of counters, so he'll be going straight away for bags of crisps or anything like that, and so you need to be very vigilant of that, not even just the escape, and it's more of going for food, because that's like a huge trigger for him, that he just wants to constantly eat. But no, it is good going to these places now, and it's a lot better than going to kind of standard sessions. It just feels totally alien now to go to a kind of non-ASN session now, and if you do go to any of these sessions, it feels strange going into anything and not knowing at least one person.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's good not to be able to have to think you have to apologise to everybody as well. Like, I remember obviously when we first go to soft plays, my wife was always on edge. I did my best, obviously, as the calmer parent, to kind of like, it's fine, I'll go with him, it's okay, everything's going to be right, but you still feel like you're having to kind of apologise to people because he can't say sorry because he doesn't know he's doing anything wrong. He just wants to play, whereas like another parent's going to be like, oh, why is your kid pulling my kid off a slide?
Yep, definitely.
Like, he can't help that. He wants to go on the slide first. It is what it is. Whereas obviously in a session you say that to somebody like, oh, it's fine, don't worry about it, like he's probably just sitting there anyway.
Yeah, and it's brilliant. That's like Ashton was at a session the other day, and Ashton got this obsession just now where he just wants to take everyone's phone, not to play with them, he just wants to line them up and then say thank you and give you it straight back.
Okay.
But he was going round everyone sort of thing, but he's just pickpocketing people. So he ends up with these phones, and you're having to look, whose phone is this? Like, I'm really sorry, sort of thing.
iPhone 45
You,
is just...
and you just worry, you're like,
you know?
how did everyone lose their phones? And you're like, oh, I should have had them all lined up perfect for someone to just swipe into a bag. But it's that way where it's exactly what you said, Glyn. You don't need to apologise. If a lot of the time now for things like bouncy castle and stuff, Ashton will be straight up pushing all the adults onto the bouncy castle sort of thing. It's that way of not having to apologise, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I think, like, just like what you were saying there, I remember the first time we done the kind of ASN meet-up, and I was a nervous wreck. Like, even it was I play a place that we'd been to 1,000 times, but you still have that kind of anxiety of these people might not understand my child.
Yeah.
You know, all of these, and you know, there's been times where we've gone to, you know, non-ASN sessions, and they've been amazing. And then you get other times where, you know, it can be a bit of a struggle. It can be, you know, there can be a child's birthday party, and you have to try and stop yours from going in and eating the cake. You know, that's something that you have to consider. I remember there was like a bunch of it was in iPlay, you know, the kind of football area.
Yeah.
There was a boy who, for whatever reason, just kept like, because of where our oldest was standing, he was stimming in the goal.
Yep.
And this boy, for whatever reason, I don't know if he got frustrated because he couldn't shoot into that goal, but he just kept blasting the ball at him.
Yep.
And I remember sometimes having a chat with you know, a neurotypical parent. It can be quite scary.
Yeah.
Because you're sitting there going, listen, my child can't, you know, he physically can't tell, you know, this to stop, or he can't communicate what he's doing right now, or how he's feeling. So, you know, you just need to, you know, it's very much, you have to try and be like, listen, please, just keep an eye, and if he is like getting in the way, like, we can obviously talk about it. But it was one of those that, you know, I think for us, especially me and my partner, one of us takes the diplomatic road, the other one goes into full, like, preparing for war, you know, and it's like whoever's in the moment feeling calm goes and deals with it, because the other one will cause a riot.
Yeah.
You know.
I can safely say I'm always the diplomatic one.
Do you know, most of the time I am, but there's a few times I've seen like a child do something, and I'm like that the child, you know, there is no consequence there.
Yeah.
You know, and I think sometimes I'm like, you know, you have to kind of say, listen, this is my son, he's non-verbal, he can't communicate what he's doing right now, so we just need to have a little bit of an understanding. And it's difficult, you know, and that's why these ASN sessions, when you have that opportunity to go, are incredibly valuable.
Yeah, because I'm kind of naturally anxious as it is, so it's just so good going to these sessions, being able to switch off, and as you say, not having to apologise. Like I say, most of the time Ashton will just be scouring tables, swiping any cakes and things that he can find, and it's always that way of it's okay, where it's a lot different if it's not an ASN session. Everyone just thinks your child's just stealing everyone's food. But yeah, he's pretty smart that way. Even if you try and follow him out, I remember I kept having to try to stop him. I was like, no, it's not your cake, and this is where you know they're smart. So Ashton had then took me over to a bin at the other side of the soft play, kicked the bin over, so I had to then pick everything up from the bin, and he just ran over and steal all the cakes that he could.
Oh, they're like the brain process and how they put things together.
So
it's
methodical,
unbelievable. I know there's been so many times where I've sat there and went, you know, my oldest, he's done something, and then, you know, I'll see he gives you this kind of side eye, and I'm always like, as soon as I see the side eye, I'm like, oh no. Because I'm like, he's brain, there's something
Yeah.
going. He's got a plan formulating.
Get ready.
You know, and it'll be the most, and he gives you the most obvious tells that he's doing something. Like, he'll come out the kitchen with his hand behind his back, like just kind of staring at you, like, nothing to see here, guys. And then you'll turn around and he's got like 4 snacks in his hand, and I'm like, come on, and I think, but it always cracks me up because he still has that belief of they just won't see it. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I know, and it's that way. I think we said last week as well about when they do anything that they're not supposed to. It's that mixed emotion where you're kind of like, oh, you shouldn't be doing. So, for example, like if Ashton does go and take something from the fridge, or he does something like that, or he sneaks downstairs again, that sort of thing. You're kind of like, at one point you're like, no, don't do that, but at the same time you're kind of like, oh, it's nice to have that kind of normal kid stuff. You're like, oh, I'm kind of glad that you can do that, if that makes sense. So you're kind of secretly telling them off, but at the same time you're kind of being like, oh, on yourself.
I know we talked about it before. It's and we spoke about kind of when your partner is expecting, you plan everything and you have this ideal life, and like you were saying, it's something that you're going to tell your child no, you're going to correct your child on actions that they're going to do, but you think about it and something so completely different, like no, you can't go to your friend's house today, no, we can't go to the shop for sweets, and you expect a bit of backlash from them. When you step into this ASN world, it's now, no, you can't wear your clothes into the bath. Yeah, like no, you can't put your hands down your nappy and pull the poop that you'd just done out. There's so many it's there's similarities, like you were saying, there is similarities from what you think, but you also have those moments where you're like, no, this is completely different. Yeah, it's a total change in thinking.
They're the best comedians as well, though.
Oh yeah.
Like, some of the things that our kids come out sometimes with, it's absolutely like Elijah's comical timing is so spot on. Like we were driving like a couple of weeks ago from somewhere, and we were going into McDonald's, and my wife kind of took the curb a little bit, and Elijah was like, "Uh-oh, bang!"
Do you know, I'll never forget. We took all three of our children to be baptised, and so we were both anxious wrecks, getting them all dressed, hoping that certainly the boys wouldn't have any accidents and spoil the very expensive clothing that we'd bought. We're up at the kind of altar area, and I think it was like the priest came out with the candle, and my oldest just turns around and goes, "Happy birthday," and I was like, "Oh no, oh no!" The whole place erupted, and it's like you were saying, just the comedy side of it. There's so many things. Like if I'm staying up, and he's wanting to get out of his room and go for snacks, he'll turn around and he'll go, what is it he says? We'll see Sam sleeping another day. And I'm like, yeah, I'll sleep another day. Yeah, I'll sleep another day, pal.
It's almost as if they're just like narrating the full time sort of thing in the third person. Like I remember one of the times, I can't remember what it was that Ashton had done, whether he had like broken something or trashed the place or something, and me and Cheryl were like, oh my god, like try to clean it up sort of thing, try to figure out, and I can't remember what it was exactly, and then Ashton just turns around and goes, "You sound frustrated."
That's brilliant.
We'll do that obviously like every day. Obviously Elijah is a very messy child. It is what it is. That comes with a lot of our kids, but the same always come out at the same point in the same place in his room. So at the end of the night before we get to bed, obviously we're trying to get him tidied up, and I'm like, "Elijah, what's going on?" He goes, "What a mess."
Does he do your accent as well? Or
he is essentially like has an English accent. Yeah, like there's nothing Scottish about his accent at all. So I'm quite interested to see how Noah comes along speaking wise, because I think it'd be weird having one like Scottish kid and one like English accented kid. Yeah, but he hasn't got. Obviously, I'm originally from Birmingham.
Okay,
right. And now everybody listening to this has gone Birmingham.
Yeah.
I try very hard not to sound like I'm from Birmingham for the most part. Sometimes it comes out in the words. But his accent is essentially English, and I think that's probably come from watching what he's watched and listening to me.
Yep.
It's weird, obviously, because everybody else in his family is Scottish. Obviously, the people that he interacts with more are Scottish, obviously, but he's picked up my accent more. Which is strange, but it is what it is. So sometimes he'll say, I think, a couple of things. Obviously, they'll have like a twang to it, but primarily it is just like it is in English.
Yeah, Ashton's just got a variety, depending who it is that he's been talking to or anything like that, or anything he's been watching. It's just a total mix. But then every once in a while, it'll just this kind of thick Scottish will come out and be like, "Oh no," things like that. Like, so it's quite funny. It's that way of trying to understand which is his own accent, as opposed to just the kind of echolalia. But it keeps things entertaining.
I mean, our oldest, he has echolalia, and he very much. The way I like to think about it is he stores these phrases and tries to place them when you're speaking to him. I wouldn't say he has like a distinct accent. You know, my daughter, she 100% everything is American. All the videos that she watches are usually American. But like we'll go to the shop and she'll be like, how many dollars is that? And I'm like, no, sweetheart, it's pounds. You know, and there's so many things where she'll ask you, she'll be like, why are we not celebrating Thanksgiving? And I'm like, we just don't do it here. You know, maybe I say to her all the time, you know, we'll take you to America one day. And she, you know, she's like, I can't wait. You know, and honestly, I feel like she would just fit in, absolutely no bother.
Slot in there perfectly.
She would, honestly.
Yeah, it's like everything with Ashton. So Ashton used to be obsessed with the cutting fruit that you get, sort of thing, but it was always like eggplant and tomato and all that sort of stuff, and try to get all those kind of different words together. So if you try to change it at all, there's just no point, sort of thing, because he's set that's how it is now. So
I mean, was it the phrases that normally come out in our house? For our oldest, it's like Paw Patrol. That's a big one. Sometimes Thomas the Tank Engine. Many nights I've been called the Fat Controller, which is always lovely. You know,
said with affection.
You know, said with affection. I'm trying to think. Yeah, Paw Patrol, Thomas, Belays and the Monster Machines. Don't know if any of us have seen that one.
Yeah, I think I've seen it. But I mean, I'd love to for Ashton to watch these sort of things. I've said I'd love to watch these things, but Ashton half the time just watches, and because he just flicks back and forth himself, there's nothing you could really watch with him.
Half the time I'm sitting there and I'm watching it and I'm like, this is actually quite good.
Some of them are good, like, I mean, except from some of the stuff that he's watching just now, it's like, so he'll love things like, it will be like super simple songs, it could be like when the band goes marching in, but then he'll find different versions of it where it's all distorted and warped, and he seems to really, really enjoy it, sort of thing, which is, again, you'd wonder kind of what it is inside their head, sort of thing, but things like that, or he likes things like Katie's Classroom, and the benefit of those sort of things is if he does go into like a hospital or a dentist, they'll have seen an episode where they go into these places and he kind of relates to it, which is a good thing. I think we said before about how that was what we tried to kind of develop for a while when we knew that Ashton was having a lot of echolalia and he was really getting into these different kind of TV shows and things. We would try and adapt to kind of get him to start using them in context, sort of thing, and even try kind of get involved in that kind of wee world with them. So yeah, it's a long learning journey anyway.
Oh yeah, I mean, through tablets, through TV shows, that's like that's for the majority how children with ASN learn. Yep. You know, and
100%.
There's so many different ways that these children learn. Like, I know that my oldest, he's very sensory based, like with his fingers and his toes. So, you know, like we'll get like a book that's got different like materials, and you'll see him and he'll sit there and he doesn't care about the reading or the writing. Yeah. But the first thing he'll feel the sensation, and his face just lightens up.
Is that like the That's Not My books?
Yeah.
We just got a bunch for Elijah. Obviously, he randomly wanted them over Christmas. Yeah. Like, we've just got a whole like library of them now, and obviously he just goes through them and go, "That's not my duck."
We have about 60 of them in the house because Ashton goes through obsessions with them, and you need to read every single book
Yeah.
before he goes to bed, and he'll take them to school with him and everything's that, and then one day gone, doesn't want to see them again. Then it'll be 6 months later, he'll just look at it, and I remember, because he'll just copy what we do a lot of the time. It would be a case of you'd go through it, be like, that's not my dog, this, and then you get to the end, you'd be like, oh, that's my dog. And because we were doing the kind of he would copy it, and I remember at one point he had about 10 books out and he started going it sounded like he was having an asthma attack sort of thing. But those books were great. Like, even we went to I can't remember if it was a zoo or we went somewhere, and it really kind of helped to bring him in sort of thing, to be like, oh, that's not my dog, that's not my thing. Like, and it's kind of like, I think I said to you before, Sam, the only thing that it does make difficult is when you're kind of like, that's not my pig, and then you look at it, this kind of black and brown pig compared to the kind of perfect pink one in the book sort of thing. But yeah, we have about 60 of those books and multiple versions of each of them, because some of them are ripped to bits and things. So
oh yeah, like there's everything is almost has a lifespan in our house.
Yeah.
When it comes to our oldest, if it's a toy for him, there's a good chance it's getting. We got him, was it Christmas, we got him the Paw Patrol Tower, and we got him like all the different Paw Patrol characters and vehicles. And honestly, at the moment, it's missing the station bit, because he just sits there with the station and he flicks it side by side, and it does the audio of Ryder saying something's happening. And he'll just sit and play with that. But I'm like, whatever keeps you happy.
Do you ever have that in your head? You're kind of like, they're playing with a toy in a certain way, and you're kind of like, no, play with it this way, because you're kind of like, that's a really cool toy. And then eventually you're like, oh, just play with it, whatever you want. Just if you want to just slide these two parts that are not even connected, just do what you want, sort of thing. Like, whatever keeps you happy.
I got my oldest. I was helping him clean his room. Cleaning his room is an absolute nightmare. And for about an hour, I was trying to get him to recognise what a plate was. Just trying to understand. It's what you like, trying to describe things that he knew.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so we say, put, like, once he's had his dinner, we say, put it in the sink. And for whatever reason, he comes out and goes, put it slinky. And I'm like,
close.
Okay, cool, that's fine. So I think I was honestly at my wit's end last night trying to get his room cleaned, and I was like, the plate in the slinky, and he went, slinky, and pointed at the plate, and I went, yes.
That's it.
Sometimes it's just finding that.
Yeah, the balance.
That's one of those wins.
It's the small victories we talk about, but yeah, trying to find, your own cues and your child's cues is so important, and finding what they are interested in, like you were saying about the books. You were saying obviously about programs, like when they're watching, especially at like the hospital or at home. Yeah, is really good as well.
I know. I think we kind of, I don't know what you guys, we kind of dive massively, probably more than we should, into when Ashton has like a special interest. We try to get involved, and we probably do go over the top. That's why we've ended up with 60 of these books or so, and even for his birthday. So we, for the last kind of couple of years, we've hired out the Glasgow Groovers to come and play for Ashton, sort of thing. And so for anyone that doesn't know, they do kind of singing and signing with Makaton, and Ashton absolutely loves Siobhan and Mel. They're brilliant, and for his birthday they had made him, because they knew that he loved those books, they made him like a kind of personalised That's Not My Ashton with pictures that they'd printed out and those sort of things. So it's just kind of good to have that kind of memory. But yeah, it's good as well, I think, in terms of when they get a special interest that you can actually kind of get involved in terms of reading these books, because there will be certain times with Ashton where it will be he just wants to watch something on the phone, or he wants to do something that you can't really get involved in. So it's good when he goes through these periods where you can actually kind of interact with them quite a bit, and it kind of makes you feel kind of quite good inside, sort of thing.
Elijah has, over the last year or so, got an interest in like my Xbox. Obviously, you spoke about obviously like gaming, like last one, and I'd introduced him to a couple of like kiddie games on there, but he really loves Minecraft. And it's such a simple game that he can go in and he can just do whatever he wants with it. And I started it by like making him his own little flat world, and I did. His favourite book is Very Hungry Caterpillar. And I just did every fruit and just went through as a person just eating all the fruit, and that started his world. And from there he's built it out, and he just goes in and just a lot of the time it is whatever his hyper focus is just now. Elijah's big one is 20th Century Fox.
Nice.
Okay.
And that can be a lot sometimes. But he has built the 20th Century Fox like logo.
So is it just a logo, or is it like, does he like watching like the kind of
He watches like the
intro
the
sort
intro
of thing? Yeah.
on loop.
Thankfully,
We've just broke that like recently because he's gone on to Octonauts. But that's his constant.
It'll go back to
He'll go back to it at some point. But it'll be so much of a fixation that everything he draws, everything he builds, all his toys he'll make at 20th Century Fox out of it somehow. Like he finds a way to do it. But in Minecraft, in Minecraft itself, obviously he's every iteration of the logo is all like in this world, and he does like the lights for it and everything. Like he's figured out how to do this from like
that's
watching
brilliant. That's really
videos on YouTube
impressive.
and stuff
I
like
couldn't do that.
That's unbelievable.
But that's his like. Well, at first we were like, is he playing this too much? Because he'd get up in the morning and obviously he'd want to be on it straight away.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously but he doesn't stay on it all day. Like he would jump away, go do something else, but he has to stay on the TV.
Yeah, and I think I said to you before, I think the phone, and it sounds like with Elijah, it's good to give them something that they are in control of, because with their lives a lot, we're the ones that have to make a lot of the decisions, and it is that way of, they don't have a lot of independence, so when they can get that, whether it is a phone or a tablet, and they can decide kind of what to watch, or as you say, Minecraft, they can kind of build their own world and give them that independence, I think it is massively beneficial.
I don't think screen time is as much of a thing, or it shouldn't be as much a thing as as it has been made to, but it's such a saviour thing for a kid with a sensory issue.
100%.
Because it can be the difference between being able to eat at dinner, or just being able to like function outside of the house.
Mm-hmm. Like I know our oldest, he fluctuates between using his tablet and his toys in his room, or like he'll do the same as you were talking about with Elijah, where Ashton, where he'll pile like 15 blankets on himself, but a lot he will always return to that tablet, and he doesn't really play games on it or anything like that, but he'll sit and watch YouTube just continuously, and it will be like the Thomas the Tank Engine theme song in Japanese on a loop, just like you were saying, and it'll be because I'll sit there and just at the corner of my eye, I'm like, that doesn't sound like Thomas the Tank Engine, and then I'm like, no, that's the video he returns to every time.
I remember when it was I don't know how they all do it. It's like if Ashton finds one video he likes, then he'll find it in every language and he'll watch it in every language. I remember at first I was at the Cheryl, I was like, we can't let him watch this, like he needs to learn to speak English first, like what if he picks up the wrong language sort of thing, then we've got no chance. But he'll do that. And I remember it was when he's doing these it was like the cutting fruits again, he would love watching videos of those, but we'd find these and it was I don't know what accent it was one of the countries in Asia sort of thing, and it was a particular accent, and it was supposed to learn people to speak English, so then he would say the fruit in a completely different language, and then he'd go like banana and like all this completely different accent, he'd go through them all sort of thing.
We've definitely watched that as well. I mean, I said to you guys previously in this week, earlier today, that Elijah essentially taught himself like 5 different languages, like doing the alphabet and like the numbers.
So good.
Like we went to nursery one day and they were like, do you know Elijah can do the Greek alphabet? I'm like, no.
Amazing.
They were like, he's sat here all day. Like we went to one of the other girls, I'm like, what language is that? And they were like, it's Greek. And he can do like Russian alphabet, he can do like Arabic, he can like and he'll say it out to you, and he's watched Russian like nursery rhyme videos on YouTube before, and I'm like, and similar to you, I'm like, I mean, I need him to be like learning English first, but and he'll sit you down and he'll be like telling you what they are, and if you don't say it right, he goes, no, again.
And it's that way they're so impressive, and I think that kind of highlights the full thing of how education for these kids is so important, and it has to be kind of catered to their strengths and needs, because it might be a case of Elijah can do all these different alphabets, but it could be if whatever the syllabus is or the way you're teaching them, you're not going to get that strength. And it's the same with Ashton, I'm sure it's the same with your kids, sort of thing of these places need to make sure they are kind of working to their strengths, because there is really strong points for our kids, but it can just be a lot of time the structure is the problem, or the environment and things that is just trying to get to that point where you understand kind of how they tick, essentially.
I know right now, since June, our oldest has obviously been out. I think I talked about that last week, but that's been like a big chunk of his routine that's been taken away, you know. And like you were saying, you know, he would go there and he would be learning, you know, counting from kind of 1 to 20 or practicing the alphabet, you know. I mean, in between trying to escape, and he was trying to do like tricks on his tricycle out in the.
Nice.
He would go out though with his bare feet and ride on the tricycle and basically skid his feet along the concrete, you know. So it was all of these things, but we're desperately trying to get him into an ASN specific education.
Yeah.
At the moment, and like you were saying, it differs for every single child. You know, every child learns differently. Like you were obviously saying, learning about multiple different languages, which in today's world is brilliant because everybody is everywhere, you know. But it's one of those trying to find ways for your child to pick up things. And I know at the moment for our oldest, we're trying to teach him a lot of safety.
Yep.
You know, when we go out walks, we reiterate, like, look left, look right, look left again. And you know, we hold his hand because he has ski reins that we wear.
Okay.
Just to keep him close by. It's the only reins that fit him because he's 5 foot tall and 60 kilograms of pure muscle. So when we walk places, when we go out, it's all we're trying always teach him about safety first. So that's what we're focusing on at the moment, but it is one of those that he needs his education.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know,
I think it's that, and I actually meant to say it when I was kind of listening back to one of the episodes previously, and we were talking about obviously your oldest when he escaped, and I always kind of wondered that with Ashton of like, obviously you couldn't ever do it, but you always just wonder like where they would go, like, because in their head there'll definitely be a plan. There's somewhere that they're heading to, sort of thing. But you'd love to just somehow be like, I wonder what it is that they're actually trying to go to, sort of thing, and how safe would they be in terms of like how much have they taken in and done it that way. It would be kind of interesting. But to kind of focus on the kind of safety thing you're talking about, obviously Glyn, you were saying you're trying to teach Elijah certain keywords and things to.
Yeah, we are. Obviously, we used to have a thing, obviously, because we moved about a year ago, and we'd be like, where do you live? And he's like, Red Door 34. And we're like, so where do you live now? And obviously we're trying to still make it rhyme for him.
Yeah, don't give away your location here.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
Party at Glyn's.
And it'd be a case of like, okay, like, so it's he's having trouble with letting people change him at school just now. So we're just kind of like, who do you let change you? Like people that you trust. So you're just making sure the right wording's been used for these things, and like who do you he knows who's going to get him off the bus every certain days. Like, so be like, who comes to get you on a Friday? Nana. Who takes you off the bus on a Tuesday? Dad.
Yeah.
And even obviously if it's I'm taking him off the bus on a day that it's not meant to be, he'll stay on the bus and be like, not Dad.
Oh yeah.
Got you.
So he's like, no, buddy, it's me today. And he goes, no, it's not Dad day. Nana day.
So it's very kind of literal in that thing, and the routine is massive, sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It must be that
it's
way.
like it's almost like going against the kind of fixed idea that he's got in his head of, you know, this is who is getting me today.
Yeah.
And if it's anybody else, nah.
Yeah. It's weird, obviously. Like I don't understand how much. I don't know how much he grasps the days of the week. Obviously, we have a planner on the fridge that we use, obviously, and telling him what he's going to be doing each day. But I know, obviously, in the holidays that kind of blurs, and he doesn't really fully understand when it is. So I don't know how much he knows, but I think obviously he knows certain days he goes to school.
Yeah.
And certain days he has off. So I don't know if he can work that out in his head which days those are. And obviously we do tell him like today is Monday, like today is Tuesday. Obviously, what are we doing today? School today. Like, so he does know. I don't know how much of that he retains into. Okay, today is this day.
Yeah, I feel like certainly for our oldest, like we can repeat phrases and but I think sometimes it's like almost like autopilot for him to respond with that same way. So for us, we don't know if he's understanding what we're asking or if it is just echolalia and he's like, okay. So, you know, if there's been times where he's obviously climbed over his gate at night and we go, remember, we don't climb over the gate. And he goes, don't climb over gate. But he'll do it another
He'll still do it
25 times if he wants to, you know. And it's like trying to build that understanding and, you know, just obviously to wrap up what we're talking about, but there's so many so many things that as an ASN dad you have to consider for your child, you know. And we've spoken about, you know, sleep routines, we've talked about, you know, resources for learning. There's so much that we can contribute, and there's so much that the outside world also contributes to our children.
No, definitely it's a huge learning curve for all of us, having to essentially learn all this alongside kind of obviously your own personal situations and work and everything. So it's a lot to go with. But yeah, guys, so that's another episode wrapped. So thanks for chatting with us again, Sam.
Of course.
Glyn.
Yes.
And to everyone that's listening, if you are wanting to keep up to date, we are on social media at ASN Dad Chat on Facebook and Instagram, and you'll find the episodes saved on Spotify, and you can also listen on Paisley Radio. So we are glad you're here, you're not alone, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. If you want to get involved or get in touch with us, you can find us on Facebook or Instagram under ASN Dad Chat.